So marine heat waves. What is a marine heat wave? So a marine heat wave is when we have enormously high sea surface temperatures. So a sea surface temperature that is not within the normal range that it should be. And that happens for a consecutive amount of days. And if it kind of goes on for a prolonged period of time, then it's classified as a marine heat wave. The problem is that they are increasing in frequency and duration and intensity, particularly in the Hauraki Gulf, which I'll talk about in a moment. But this means that there's a shifting baseline of what actually defines a marine heat wave. And the conditions that we have now compared to 100 years ago, everything would be classified as a marine heat wave. So this is data from 1967 to at the moment. And you can see over the last 10 years that really stark increase in sea surface temperature. I know it's only about 1 degree to 2 degrees warmer, and to you guys, you might think it's not that much. But for zooplankton, for example, that's the difference between life and death. In 2022, we had marine heatwave conditions for 313 days of the year, which is massive and really, really, really scary. Which means everything that depends on the ocean, including our seabirds, are obviously going to be struggling, to say the least. So when a marine heatwave happens, obviously it gets warmer. That's kind of doesn't need to be said. But we get a decrease in primary productivity. So there's not as much phytoplankton, which in turn the zooplankton feed on, which in turn the fish feed on the zooplankton. And so there's just not enough food for everyone. But there is hope. If we can remove all those other, pressures from predators and from the overfishing, if we can remove those and they just have to deal with those marine heat wave pressures, that allows them a lot more wiggle room and more buffering capacity. And that can be done at the global scale. It can be done at the local scale, and with a lot of community support, and all the projects that you guys are running and are a part of really, really do help make a difference. And so they're really, really important, and we can actually do a lot to reduce the impacts that these seabirds feel.